Hello there. So, one of my viewers by the name of That's Some Good Pie left a comment on my review of the Hyperkin Retron 3 HD, stating that he was having some problems playing PAL Super Nintendo games. So, for those of you that don't know, many parts of Europe, including the UK, use a different NTSC television standard than the US and Japan. And I guess I'm showing my age by referring to the United Kingdom as Europe, but it's there. So That's Some Good Pie was stating that he was having these flashes when he was playing a PAL Super Nintendo game for after about 10 minutes. Now, I don't have any PAL cartridges. However, I do have an Everdrive, and that can play PAL region games, hence the systems would be none the wiser that it's running off FPGA wizardry, masquerading as a cartridge, and hypothetically it should be the same. So I have my Retron 3 HD, I set the Super Nintendo Switch to the PAL region, and I'll be playing some PAL games. So he actually has been playing them via HDMI on his HDMI TV. So technically this should be the same. So let's give it a shot. And he says that he's been having these flashes after about 10 minutes of gameplay. And he's wondering, can it be reproduced or is it just his particular system? So let's check it out. All right, so I am now playing. This is Super Mario World, the European version. And play it for a couple minutes and see if we have any errors. Welcome to Dinosaur Land. Yep, looks like Bowser's at it again. So PAL actually has a slightly different resolution than NTSC, which is what we use in the US and Japan. Okay, that's on me. That's not on this. So the UK actually uses a slightly different power standard, and that affects how PAL renders. So the US is 30 frames a second, and so with basically a max of 60. Oh yeah, the timing is a little off. I mean, I think it's a little peppier. No, this is actually a little slower. So games like Sonic actually run a little slower, and that's just what people are used to. That's just what they're, everyone has their own subjective experiences, but the power standards that they use affect the TV standards, and that in fact affected the speed that the games ran at. Interesting thing is, one of the hardest Genesis games is, I believe, Back to the Future Part 2 and 3. And one of the reasons because of this is it actually follows the plot of the movie, where our time-traveling heroes are stuck in the past in the American Wild West, and there is a horse action scene, and you're riding a horse. Or Doc Brown is riding the horse. Well, the thing is that so there actually has to be some manipulation of the code to get it to run at the right frame rate. So a lot of games are developed for the Japanese and American market, and sometimes they tweak it to run. So this Mario is actually running a little slower, but the music sounds good. Sometimes you hear it in the music, but so far I haven't seen any flashing or anything. So the thing is about this game, Back to the Future Part 2 and 3 for the Sega, originally for the Sega Mega Drive. So apparently you can play it, and it plays just fine in Europe, but when played on American hardware, they didn't actually change the speed that it runs at, and it's just way too fast for human fingers. So that game is effectively ruined. when you play it on American hardware. But if you play it on PAL hardware, or in this case, we got a clone system that's running in PAL mode, that would be a cool comparison. I should actually find the game, play it in PAL, and PAL mode versus NTSC. Yeah, Mario is running a little slower. It's not lag, it's just so everything is. But so I have my friend, actually I ran a blog for a great many years called 8-Bit Joystick. And Matt is one of my most loyal readers, and he lives in New Zealand. And he's friends with Dave, who's originally from New Zealand and currently lives in Japan. So both of these individuals, New Zealand actually use the PAL TV standard. And so that was a joke about Sonic the Hedgehog. Instead of going like PAL, instead of going fast, it's like gotta go 50 hertz versus 60 hertz. So, haven't seen any flashes. So, this is actually my second Retron 3 HD. Originally, I got a Retron 3 HD and played Super Nintendo games fine, played NES games fine, and the Genesis games, it played fine, but it played them in mono, or it only came out of the left speaker. And they played fine, but it just irritated the daylights out of me. Okay, color looks good. I do think it's cool that Hyperkin made their systems with all regions of the world around. And so gamers like Marcy, she grew up in Wales. And so she has her girlhood Super Nintendo games, and you can't plug them into an American system. But here, it's on a clone hardware, but it's outputting an HDMI signal, which I have plugged into my capture device. I didn't put the scan line. I could have put the scan line system on, but here I'm just looking for any flashing graphic abnormalities. So my current theory is there is not any problems. I'm not finding any problems running PAL games. Haven't seen it yet. I think I'll go for 10 minutes of this, and then I'll switch over some variety of games. I have Street Fighter 2, Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, and Vampire's Kiss. Now, the games that I chose, Mario, because this is actually a good game to see compatibility. So, Super Mario World was one of the first Super Nintendo games developed, but it really did push the hardware. And in fact, Nintendo's... Oh, sorry, Yoshi. Sorry about that. So they did, like the transparency effect, that's rendered nicely. Ooh, shoot. Really great music. Fiddlesticks. Oh, let's see if I can put the other ear in. There you go. Now you can't see the headphone. So I got my mic down here, and the HDMI source is being captured. I'm mixing it in OBS. OBS is a really great program. Got those spiffy graphics on there. And it has a timer. You can pause your recordings. OBS is probably, I mean, it literally is what I use to record multiple video sources. And in this case, I don't have to edit this. So if you're into doing any kind of YouTube, even if it's not streaming, so you can use OBS for streaming. That's what it's designed to do. But since it can manipulate video in real time, boy, it's great. I also usually use some sound filters on it to make sure that slightly clean up the audio to make sure you can't hear my refrigerator or the highway next to where I live. And sometimes these consoles need a little bit of a gamma boost. Oh, that's on me. That's on me. I was being greedy. Ooh, a little bit. Again, I'm not quite 100% used to the timing. So my capture device is playing this. Nice. Okay. 11 minutes recording, but I think I did about a 2-minute talk. So he said, I'm assuming, you know, so my viewer's name is That's Some Good Pie. I guess I shouldn't assume a male gender, but that's, I guess, or I should just use that and they, the plural. So they said that they were having some problems. See how easy that is? I don't know why people get screwed up on pronouns. By the way, everyone has pronouns. Fart. So normally I swear like a sailor, but since I'm trying to focus my video on, let's see, YouTube has some monetization. They don't like it if you swear at the beginning of the video and do, like excessive swearing, but the terms that they use, is rather vague. Also, my day job, I work with children, so I try to not swear in front of them for obvious reasons. Honestly, I think the kids that I deal with, they can handle it just fine, and they'd probably find it amusing. It's the other adults at my facility that I don't want to draw the ire of. So that's why I say darn and, you know, flying feces or things like that. Exclamations, that's not quite swearing. I guess I could say like frack, but I'm not that into Battlestar Galactica. Is that? Yeah, that's Battlestar Galactica. So again, I'm playing this for more than 10 minutes, not seeing any kind of graphics problems. So that's some good pie. Hyperkin's pretty good, but I'm not there. There's a definite possibility that there might be a problem with your system. Maybe there's a component on the board. I would return it, exchange it, that kind of thing. So let's try a different game. Record, record, record. Let's try some Castlevania Vampire's Kiss, which is the censored Castlevania without any blood. Let's see if they have the Butch version. looks good. Not seeing any flashing. Again, it does feel a little slower. It's not like crazy slow, but definitely slower than I'm used to. And it's sort of interesting to hear the perspective of people that grew up with this, and then they sort of got into, oh shoot, emulation. And a lot of software emulators have, you know, the ability to go between PAL and NTSC. But NTSC is sort of where it's at by default for a lot of emulators, and a lot of mini consoles do the NTSC mode at 60 frames a second, 60 hertz by default. So I remember some criticism of the Super Nintendo Classic Mini, or Classic Edition, when they made the PAL version, or the European version. It rendered the games in NTSC speeds, not PAL speeds, and and some of the games were called different things. And instead of, and it wouldn't not be hard for them to just, you know, configure the emulator to run at a slightly different speed, or to have the option, have it in this settings menu for NTSC versus PAL. But they had, let's see, Probotector or Contra instead of Probotector. And Star Fox was called Star Wing. And Liliat Wars for one of the Star Fox games. I'm just going to call it Star Fox because that's what I'm used to. Also, the Japanese version is called that. So, not seeing any flashing, not seeing any graphics errors. And this is a pretty graphically demanding game. If you look at that, it's getting the transparency. It's got the Mode 7 effects. Looks lovely. Ooh, 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 ooh. And I fell down there. All right. That's a good stopping point. Let's try what's next. I have Street Fighter and Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Let's try some Street Fighter. Aha! Oh wait, there it is. I'm unfrozen. There's no music there. Oh, wait. It's going after the, if I have the HDMI mode, let's see. Yeah, I'll do normal or turbo. Normally I do Ken and Ryu, but Chun-Li. Let's go for some Chun-Li. USSR. That's Baja Blast Zangief. Oh yeah. And oh man. They reduced the size of Zangief's manly bulge in this version of the game, or in the original version of the game. Actually, I have to see if it's like the original Super Nintendo version. But I know in the arcade, I think between the original arcade and Super Turbo or the Super Nintendo, they shrunk the size. I mean, Zangief still is impressive, but they did shrink the size of his package. Okay, looking pretty good. 20 minutes. I'll do one more. Oh, darn on you. Curse you. Let's see, where's my kick button? I need to pay attention. I was not paying attention, and Zangief is currently ahead of me. There we go. Yes, that was a little cheesy and dishonorable. Whatever. India. But again, not seeing any problems. So that's good. Let's do a round of Dollism. Poop. All right. Let's try some Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. The t-shirt that I'm wearing is from a webcomic called Cat and Girl. I wonder what happened to it, but I used to like to enjoy Cat and Girl. Oh, wait, I forgot. I hit start instead of hitting A. On the Everdrive, if you hit start, it does the most recent game played instead of A, which launches the game. Konami. Which... Yep, Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Let's see. Oh, you can see their... I know that showing their weapons was a thing. That was one of the source of contention. Nunchucks. So... I'll do nunchucks. Do Michelangelo. So... The UK, apparently... Nunchucks were associated with hooliganism, and so they were trying to, and ninja everything was popular. So the depiction of weapons, the nunchaku, was disproved of. So the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were a little controversial by showing the weapons. And they got into the whole children's entertainment thing where no one really dies. Even though some people in G.I. Joe, it's obvious that, like, you know, wow, their plane just blew up, but they always everyone's gotta eject and everything, but... So it's clearly running at the authentic speed, a little slower, but looks good to me. But I haven't seen, you know, I've been looking at the HDMI output, playing it for almost half an hour. Haven't seen any graphical errors. And looks good to me. Let's see, I do have the, let's see, let me adjust my, there, so here's, I don't know if you can see it, but like, so here's the color correction. sometimes I slightly tweak the gamma, which can make it a little brighter. But now this is the regular output. So the Hyperkin, it's a clone system, so people are so it's actually running an actual Super Nintendo, Genesis, Mega Drive, and NES using compatible hardware that is, and it's running it and then outputting it via an analog. So it's internal analog to HDMI. So it's not as crisp as it would be if it was a FPGA solution or an emulation solution. But you know what? It's fine. It's a $100 option. Terminate the turtles. Well, there's my, let's see, let's move the other stuff out. Get my logo back. And the cart. All right, so I was, oh, and now my video is lagging. All right, well, this is 8-Bit Joystick. I tried some PAL games on the Retron 3 HD. I was looking for some flashing. I didn't see it, so I wonder if my viewer, That's Some Good Pie, had some problems on his system, but my system, the Retron 3 HD, I didn't notice any problems on it. So this is 8-Bit Joystick. Stay awesome, play retro.